Welcome to MMA Fight Night. Today, we've got some drama brewing as Sean Strickland takes aim at Khamzat Chimaev for some bold comments. Sean Strickland is officially set to face Dricus du Plessis at UFC 312 on February 8th. But don't get it twisted. Just because the fight's booked doesn't mean Strickland and Chimaev's feud is fading anytime soon. If you've been following these middleweights, you know they once trained together, looked like they were pals. But now, things have heated up. With both men gunning for title shots, the verbal shots are flying fast and furious. Lately, Chimaev took to social media to throw down the gauntlet, asking where Strickland was at, and he didn't stop there. Khamzat also hinted at their past sparring sessions, claiming that they definitely went in his favor. Not one to stay quiet, Strickland quickly fired back, as we all expected. LMAO, sorry I don't speak Cheech and Kodal. Loosen up his leash. You got any Bitcoin scams to peddle? You hiding from any dictators? I love how you try to talk to me, bro. You're not a man of character. L-Dog, crypto scams yourself out to cadre for cars, fled to the Middle East when the pimp hand got too strong. Stay in your lane, Swedish man. When a fan asked if Chimaev is even allowed to fight in the US, Strickland didn't hold back, and his response was clear. No, he can't. And that says a lot. We let everyone in America. This guy has the moral character of a dog. Fake Muslim. Strickland also had a response when a fan pointed out that the former champion had once said, "Boers goes hard in training. He goes too hard on low-level guys. He's ragdolling a 3-1 guy. LOL. Now, we wait to see if Chimaev will respond and where this rivalry heads next. If Strickland takes back the middleweight title in February, all signs are pointing toward a fiery grudge match against Chimaev. And with UFC 312 coming up, Strickland didn't hold back on social media after the fight was officially announced, sharing his thoughts loud and clear. Time to bring back freedom to Australia. Denied, deposed, defend. No idea where they're saying this from or who said it, but I like it. Real catchy, but no idea. Do you think Strickland will get revenge for his previous loss to DDP, or will du Plessis extend his reign as the middleweight king? Dricus du Plessis has a warning for Sean Strickland on Twitter. He posted, "This time they won't call it a robbery. Prepare to be amazed." He's talking about their last fight, where Strickland called it a robbery and said he should have won. So, who do you think will take the rematch? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Merab is reacting to the UFC 310 altercation. While the big headlines from UFC 310 were supposed to be about the action inside the cage, what really grabbed attention was the incident involving Merab, his teammate Dennis Buzuk, and someone in the crowd. The footage showed Buzuk throwing punches at the person, and since Merab has had previous run-ins with fans, it was initially reported as a fan scuffle. But after the event, Merab shared this video, revealing that the person involved was actually linked to Umar Nurmagomedov's camp.
And friend of Umar and Dagestanis. You can see Merab walking, filming his friend Aljo when Guy grabs his arm and starts insulting him with phone in his hand. Turns out he is not just fan from Kazakhstan, but a provoker, and as Merab said, he was insulting him.
You're gone, bro. You're gone.
Later that day, Umar posts stories with the guy and his squad. And there is even more pictures from years ago with him and Dagestanis. Media says Merab got into with a fan, and the guy himself says Merab said something about Shavkat, while Kazakhstan media promoted it like Merab disrespected Shavkat, and the guy is hero. But obviously, this is not coincidence. Merab is good with Shavkat, and all this happened in 15 seconds. This was just Dagestani's dirty trick and provocation.
As expected, during the post-fight press conference, Dana White was asked about the incident. Here's what the UFC CEO had to say.
Merab's fighting people in the stands, okay? Merab would get in a fight in the middle of the fighter section. That's why we moved him over to the left. So I wouldn't say that any of these guys are afraid of anybody or any fight. But, you know, fighters are a paranoid bunch. You know, there's always some conspiracy against them, whether it's us or other people, or we make fights that people want to see. They win or lose the fights on their own, but they are conspiracy there. They always think that somebody is against them, and maybe that's what they need to do to have that mental thing to go out and do what they do. He's my mini Strickland without the mouth.
If incidents like this are already going down, just imagine what fight week for UFC 311 is going to be like. Merab is set to face Umar at the January 18th event. Belal Muhammad went off on UFC security after Shavkat Rakhmonov secured a fight with him on Saturday by defeating Ian Gary. Rakhmonov called Belal into the cage. After all, what's better than a face-off in the octagon to hype up a fight? Well, things didn't go as planned at first. Security wouldn't let the welterweight champion into the cage. Eventually, Muhammad was allowed in, and he and Shavkat exchanged a few words. During the broadcast, Joe Rogan speculated that security didn't recognize Belal, but when Belal spoke with the Schmo after the event, he didn't hold back, blasting security for not letting him in right away. Yeah, I don't know what they thought I was gonna do. They thought I was pulling a Merab or like hopping over and going crazy or something like that. No, he called me, bro. If someone calls me into the cage, I'm going to go in there, right? I don't think the security heard it. They didn't realize what was going on. They thought I was going to go in to attack him. I'm just like, bro, chill. Putting the security issues behind him, Muhammad also spoke to TNT Sports after the event. When asked about facing Rakhmonov next, Belal made it clear he's excited to take on the rising star. I'm excited. I was supposed to fight him. I was studying, watching tape on him. Now he gave me an extra 25 minutes to watch. I just want to get back in there. I'm hyped. I can't wait to show the world there's levels to this, and I'm the best in the world. After seeing how Rakhmonov performed against Gary, has your opinion on how he'll do against Muhammad shifted? Who do you think will take this fight? Alex Pereira makes his prediction for Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. A lot of fans and analysts believe Jon Jones could finally face his first real loss when he squares off with Tom Aspinall. But Alex P doesn't seem to agree. As you probably know by now, there's been constant talk about when, if ever, Jones and Aspinall will meet in the octagon. Jones has consistently shut down the idea of facing the interim heavyweight champ, leading some to accuse him of ducking Aspinall. However, after Jones's win over Stipe Miocic at UFC 309, Bones hinted that he might be open to the matchup, but only if the UFC is willing to pay big for it. Recently, P spoke with TNT Sports, and the light heavyweight champ was asked to predict how Jones versus Aspinall would go. Here's what Potan had to say. I think Jon Jones has a lot of experience on his side. Some people say Aspinall this, Aspinall that, but it comes down to experience. Jon Jones is a seasoned guy. He's been there, so I think he wins. Do you agree with P's prediction? Do you think Bones will prove to be too much for Aspinall even though he's now closer to 40 than 30? Dana White hasn't held back when it comes to commenting on the PFL and its business model. Now, with several top Bellator fighters speaking out about the PFL not booking them fights, White believes it's a clear sign the promotion is in serious trouble. Recently, big names like Corey Anderson, Patty Mix, and Patricio Pitbull made headlines by demanding the PFL give them fights. When the PFL acquired Bellator, they marketed it as a move that would position them as a true competitor to the UFC. But lately, there's been growing speculation that Bellator could be shut down, leaving many to wonder what will happen to its champions and stars. So, when White was asked about the situation after UFC 310, here's what he had to say.
Listen, the last couple months we've been talking a lot about the PFL. You know, they're canceling a lot of shows. I know that a lot of guys that are supposed to fight aren't fighting. And I mean, you guys know what's going on. I'm not, you know, when you see that start to happen, you're running out of money. Things aren't looking good. And you're going to have people that want to jump ship. You know, these guys want to fight. You have a very limited time of opportunity when you're a professional athlete, and even less when you're a fighter. So I'm sure you're going to see a lot of that, and we'll see how this plays out over the next several months going into 25.
Even if you're a fan of the PFL and want to see it succeed, it's hard to ignore how concerning it is that they're not booking top-tier fighters like Pitbull and Mix for fights. Demetrious Johnson shuts down Alexandre Pantoja's call-out. After Pantoja's dominant win over Kaya Sakura at UFC 310, the flyweight champion called out the legendary Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. However, the chances of Mighty Mouse making a UFC comeback right now seem almost non-existent. Following his submission victory, Pantoja made a bold move, calling out the retired former UFC champion. But Johnson, watching the event live, didn't hesitate to shut it down.
Why would I do that? Boys, the bank count sitting nice and good. 38 years old, 11 consecutive title defenses. Champ ain't coming back.
On his YouTube channel, the legend explained why he's not interested in fighting again, adding, "My New Year's resolution in 2024 was that I'm not going to ever fight again. I'm not going to accept any fights that come on the table. I'm saying no." So when Alex Pantoja called me out, everyone's blowing me up, asking what I think. Guys, I'm retired. I have no interest in fighting anymore. I'm not the best flyweight in the world anymore. My body's retired, and I'm happily retired. I ain't gonna be no Jose Aldo. I ain't gonna be no Donald Cerrone coming back to fight. There's no point coming back to fight. Johnson also took to social media to make it clear he's done fighting, revealing he turned down a $2 million offer. When Pantoja was asked about Johnson's post during a media session, the Brazilian fired back, saying, "It's about legacy, not cash."
Demetrious Johnson is not about money, brother. It's about see who's the best of the best, you know.
It's easy to see why Pantoja is pushing for a fight with Johnson. Not only is Johnson widely regarded as the greatest flyweight of all time, but Pantoja is running out of new contenders. However, it doesn't seem like Johnson has any interest in coming back. Even if he did, his contract with ONE would likely be a major hurdle. St-Pierre undergoes a surgical procedure. St-Pierre's legendary career may have ended years ago, but recently the Canadian icon revealed he underwent surgery to address an issue with his arm. GSP hasn't fought since 2017, when he claimed the UFC middleweight title by choking out Michael Bisping. The former welterweight champ teased a potential showdown with Khabib Nurmagomedov for a while, but it never materialized. Recently, the 43-year-old shared a post and video, using the moment to remind everyone just how crucial maintaining your health is.
Hey guys, I just had a shoulder surgery. I know that losing the use of my arm temporarily really sucked, but in the same time it makes me realize how lucky I am, because I have friends that have disabilities who have to face challenges like this on an everyday basis. So this was an old wear and tear injuries. Over the past year, I had an incredible friend that helped me with different treatment that made me much better and stronger. However, the core of the problem is mechanical, and I had to get it done once and for all. So I'm looking forward to a good, speedy recovery, and thank you for the support.
GSP has always been a true class act, both in and out of the cage. Here's hoping for a smooth and speedy recovery. Daniel Cormier revealed that Shavkat Rakhmonov entered his fight with Ian Gary with a torn MCL and meniscus in his knee. He believes this is why Shavkat didn't look like his usual self in the fight.
This fight tonight, because Shavkat Rakhmonov did not look like himself, even though I learned after that he had an injury. I think he might have tore his MCL going into the fight. Granted, with a torn ligament in your knee, you're not going to look like the that you look like in fights prior.
Cyril Gane revealed he broke his foot during his fight with Alexandre Volkov, even sharing an x-ray of the broken bones. He wrote, "It wasn't just my toe, but also both metatarsals that gave way at the start of the first round. Needless to say, there was no foot left, but we didn't give up and fought with them."